All right, so let's start sculpting something. But before that, let's save our level. So we go to File, Save Current Level, and you will see that you have Content and Engine folder. If you don't see the Engine folder, you can go here and go to Engine Content and uncheck. If you don't want to see it, that's totally fine. So you should only see the content. I can right click and create a new folder called Landscape Tutorial. And inside here, I'm going to create my level 01, like it's my first level. And there you go. That's it. Go save. And in case you close Unreal or anything, you can just press Control Space to open up the content drawer here. Or let me close this. You can go to Window, Content Browser here. And you can go here to Landscape Tutorial folder, and then you can open your level here. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and go to the landscape mode and take a look at some tools that we can use. So obviously the sculpt tool, it's gonna be the most important one. So we're gonna spend some time with it. So sculpt mode has some brush types, some fall off, okay, and some strength, and obviously some size of it. So if you click here, let me just sculpt something. If you click here, you will see that you have like a little bit of you pushing the polygons like this, kind of like sculpting. If you shift click, okay, if you shift click, you will actually do the opposite, do the inverse operation. Instead of sculpting upwards, you're gonna sculpt downwards. So just by doing that, you can just sculpt whatever. Okay, you can change the strength. So for example, I want something really, something very evident. Like you can do something like that. Or you can just make it really subtle like this. And you can just start sculpting a little bit here and there. And you will have something like this. All right. So let me get this into the default values. Now keep in mind, tool strength can also be changed. You see a maximum of 1 here, but if you want, you can put a maximum of 10. And if you click here, you will see that you're actually getting the alpha value of this. But it's very funny, because we're using an alpha here that it's basically a soft brush. So you can see that here very evidently. So let me get back to 0.3. You also have the brush size. So a maximum of 8,000. You can just start sculpting, but also you can go higher. You can go like 16,000. In case you're having a really big landscape, you can just go ahead and just sculpt very, very big brushes like this. All right. So I want to let you know that you can change these sizes to other number that is not here within the limits of this bar. All right. So fall off is gonna be really simple, and I'm gonna be using 10 strength here to show what it is. So fall off 0.5 is just a middle one. 0 is gonna be like a super harsh one. Right, there's no fall off, like there's no kind of like transition between them. And if I go with 1, it's gonna be like a super smooth transition. Like you can see what exactly it does. It's just the less fall off you have, the harsher the transition is. Now sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. I recommend this putting in 0.5. all right. So the brush tool also has some other modes. We will touch these modes later on when we work on our landscape, but you can also use an alpha like this one, for example, and you can just like sculpt with any kind of texture that you want. All right, so you can do that. And you also have the pattern brushes. It's pretty similar, like it's just the same, but you just use a pattern. All right. So, and you also have like work with landscape components. I don't really use this, so most of the time you will use the simple circular brush or the alpha brush if you want to get into more details. Obviously you have different types of fall off. So for example, I go for this, you will see that my fall off is a little bit different from this. And if you go for this type of fall off, you will see that you also have a different type of result, right? You're gonna have like a, you know, like a taper type of fall off like this. And obviously you have the third one is pretty much like this, like a reverse tape, kind of like the opposite of this one. So that's pretty much it. And I know our landscape is a mess, and you may be wondering, like, when are you gonna use this? Because to be honest, this looks really ugly, right? Who's gonna use the sculpting tools, and why am I teaching you the sculpting tools? Well, sculpting tools is not really to create beautiful landscapes, but to adjust and modify a landscape that it's already looking good, and you know, try to move things around, like tiny little details, like, or you want the player to walk here, but there is like a wall here and you need to remove it. So you start sculpting and removing this wall, and it's more of a specific thing to do. Although it's very powerful, you can still use it and create good levels with this. It has a lot of use cases, so don't worry, you're gonna use it a lot. Now I'm gonna go back and reset this. And the good thing, because we're working with layers, we can right click and we can clear the layer, and we can clear the sculpt. Later on, when we have paint, we can also clear the painting. But for now, we can just clear the sculpt. Click yes, and now all your data will be gone. So that's a good way of, you know, if you don't want to lose your progress, you can always clear and you go back to what you had before. All right. So with that said, let's continue with these tools.